Hello. That's right. Hello, all things. That's right. That's right. But you're back. Chad's here. That's right. Yeah. If you are if you are joining us and you don't know what this is, we live stream every week. And tonight, if you stay here, you will actually get to choose a part of Chad's car. Literally, Chad is building his Ford Mustang, and you will have input in it. So that's going to be fun. Yeah. Yes. Doug says he can't hear you.
This is my gift to you, Doug. You've gone and ruined it.
So anyway, since you're just looking at me, if you're just joining us, thank you for tuning in, and we are going to have a really cool stream for you guys tonight. We have another supporter topic from our lovely supporter Aaron. He will or we will give you exactly what he said for this supporter topic du jour. We are also going to, Doug also says Mike is now good.
Love Mike.
You're going to help pick a car part for us, literally. A part of Chad's car is going to be picked on stream by you guys tonight, and he has to put it on his car, literally. During the build, that's what he's going to put on his car, is what you guys pick. So, with that said, you should stick around for that because it's going to be pretty hilarious.
Should be pretty funny. Oh,
Yes. Oh, and
Jesse,
Jesse
welcome.
sending 500
Thank you.
stars right off the bat. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Amazing. If you weren't here last week, it was just me, and we did a tribute to Ken Block. I just kind of talked with you guys, and all the stars and donations you guys gave to us, we're going to end up donating. So with that, as well as the money we earned from a reel or two that we made about Ken Block, we're matching that, and it's basically about $100. So thank you guys for doing that last week. That was really special and important to us. Appreciate that. So next week we will have the screenshot. I'm going to do the donation this week. We'll have the screenshot to report back to you guys with exactly how much we gave to Team Rubicon in honor of Ken Block. So again, thank you guys so much for that last week. It was awesome. So it's about $100, and it'll be in the Shifting Lanes name for Ken Block for Team Rubicon. So that was amazing. And yeah, now we're back to our regular shenanigans this week.
Back to your regularly scheduled nonsensical car stuff, but
Yes.
not. Again, good
Not
to be
off the
back.
bat.
I tried to be here in chat. Sorry, trying to do a couple things here.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's always fun at the beginning of streams because I'm on my phone, like chatting with my wife. Chad's like trying to set up the stream. We go live, and it's just like, hey, what are we doing? It's so funny.
Wow, Jesse is so new. He doesn't know who I am. Well, I am Chad. I am.
It's best that way, Jesse. It's best that way.
One would argue I'm roughly accountable for 38, maybe 39% of Greg's agita daily. So,
That's a very accurate and correct number.
but the combination of me messing with Greg has proven to be mildly entertaining. So,
Yes, very much.
but hold on.
So yeah, Jesse and I met at Carlisle last year. Jesse has a pretty epic P2 XC70 Volvo build where it's basically just big knobby tires, lift kit, and an amazing roof tent. And it's pretty badass, to be honest. It is something that you would very much geek out over, Chad, very much so. And Chad is another part of Shifting Lanes, Jesse, if you don't know, or anyone else that's watching doesn't know. There's three of us. There's myself, there's Chad, and there's Hanson, who does the OEM reviews on the main channel of YouTube. And yeah, it's the three of us, and we do fun stuff. The end. That's it.
Yes. So, Okay, so before we actually today, like Greg said, we have the supporter topic, and then at the end of the stream for our diehards, supporters, etc., or pretty much anyone who still finds us entertaining after 2 hours, I have, I think, about 10 options, and I got to go in the supporter group because I think we had a couple submissions there for the new wing. But before we
Yes.
get into any of that sort of stuff, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of debate and kind of discuss another area outside of cars where Greg is frequently wrong. And like maybe
Oh, by the way, on that note, let's go Devils, and great win the other day against the Rangers. So, yeah,
who
I
won the
wanted to
game when we
mention
were
that before we
arguing
got
about
into
it in
that.
stream, though? Who won that game?
Doesn't matter. The Devils won most recently, so that's what matters.
Greg, supporting all things rejected by Colorado since 1984.
Including the Avalanche when I was a kid.
Yes. And I
Yes.
kind of liked the Red Wings back in the day. But at any rate, speaking of things that are not cars, that was a fun part of the stream, and like talking about it, and kind of doing things that aren't necessarily our lane, so to speak. I forget where I was, but we had an interesting conversation with some friends of mine, and we started talking about what is the best bar food. So wings, mozzarella sticks, like basically anything breaded and deep fried kind of falls in that category. You know, basically anything where you go to a bar, you get a bar pie, quick burger, all that other sort of stuff. So I figured it'd be interesting to talk to chat and more specifically to Greg. Greg, best bar food, go.
Wings, end conversation.
See, that's too obvious. Try again.
No, there's no two obvious things. When you go to a bar, um, people are most likely going to go to either meet friends or watch TV, preferably, here in the US,
Sports.
baseball or football or basketball. Those are the big three, right? I love hockey. Unfortunately, it's not really a huge sport here in the US. It's big enough, obviously, because there's an NHL and everything, but it's not one of those things where people actively go to the bar to watch it unless you're in like a real big hockey city, like Chicago. You'll get it. Up in Minnesota, you'll get it. I guess Buffalo, sure. There's like Bills and Sabres up there. Boston, unless you're in like a real big hockey city, you're gonna be getting like some hockey people going out, but you're probably going to watch a sporting event of some kind, right? And we also just had the World Cup. Bars were packed to watch the World Cup. And here in the U.S.,
Soccer
there's
doesn't
really
count.
only one. Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't.
When it's the World Cup, it absolutely counts.
Up.
And look, it
Yep,
doesn't
yep,
matter.
yep.
When it's literally 2 billion people watching, it counts. And it doesn't matter if it's here in the U.S. or not.
Built on the
But
back of slave
when
labor, but continue.
But here's the thing. When people go to bars here in the U.S., they always get bar food. There's like 3 or 4 things that people always order, right? Burgers. That's why every single place has a burger now. Wings. And Chad, can you name the third one?
Classic hummus.
No.
I mean,
No.
I don't know
It's
statistically speaking, but it's probably got to be some form of like. I mean, if you take wings and you say bone in, boneless, we'll get to that. That might set the
Right.
internet on fire.
But for this example, they combine because wings can be those two categories. But you're either ordering wings as a genre, right? You're either ordering a burger as a genre, whether that be like sliders, a regular burger, a chicken burger, whatever. But like a burger with fries, basically of some kind, right? And what do you think the third one is?
Deep fried cheese.
I mean, it's the U.S., so not going to argue that. It's probably pretty accurate, but usually it's some kind of nacho.
Oh yeah.
Because people love nachos, and it's on every single menu, every single bar menu, and it's on every appetizer list. You could argue that there's like chicken fingers, whatever, but whatever. So it's like nachos, yeah, because it's also a good shareable food, wings and burgers. Those are like the 3 biggest things, right? And burgers are more like a meal. No one's really going there because a lot of people are going to bars and like drinking and stuff. Like burgers are just hugely filling, but nachos don't like really satiate. if you go to a bar and you have a food in mind and they're like, I don't know. Every place has wings now too, because it's such a huge thing. So if I'm going to a bar and I'm getting stuff to eat and I'm going to go in there to watch something or to meet friends, I'm going to get wings because there's a lot of good wing places around. Even like a basic bar has decent wings these days. It didn't used to be like that. Even like 10, 15 years ago, you went to a bar and you ordered wings at like some like trashy bar that you like a dive bar. You're gonna get sick from the wings. But now most places that have like decent enough wings, you're like, yeah, I can get them pretty much anywhere now. So I think it's gonna be wings is gonna be like the number one thing here.
So to your last point, I'm pretty sure it's just the cost of chicken now that like if you're gonna spend a shit ton on wings, they might as well be good, right?
Right.
I kind of agree with you. So we'll deviate slightly, or not deviate away from that. You say wings, best wing sauce.
Oh man, that's a much harder question. So again, I would say rule of three, which is that classic American Pie thing. I think there's about three that are just always going to be there: buffalo, barbecue, and like some sort of like exotic. But usually you'll find like a honey garlic or something like that, right? Something along those lines. But best, I would probably have to say the best sauce I've had is probably from Buffalo Wild Wings, and it's that mango habanero one they have. So you get that like sweet. You get the what's the four things? The salt, fat, acid, heat, right? You're getting the salt from the wing, from the fried. You're getting the fat also from the fried. You're getting the heat from the habanero, and you're getting sort of like this like savory sweetness from the mango. So you're hitting at least three out of those four things. That's probably the best sauce I've had, but you can't go wrong with like a traditional medium buffalo because it's good heat and it always tastes pretty good on wherever you get it from.
So I hear everything you're saying. I mean, you're wrong, but I hear you. I'll acknowledge the words that were spoken.
Chad's gonna end up saying bar pizza, and I'm just gonna end the stream. I'm just gonna leave.
Listen, we'll put that off to the side. Good bar. It's a rant for like 3 minutes from now. But when it comes to wings, see, my go-to and my first thought would be something like garlic parmesan, but it is really easy to screw that up. Because like it all depends. Like, I come from my mother's, not, she's second or third generation Italian, but she has Italian in her blood. And therefore we put on an acceptable amount of garlic that would probably knock Greg on his ass.
I married an Italian. I'm now used to it.
So there's
I am now immune to vampires.
Immune to... I think you mean unappetizing. So like, also but like the way like the B-dubs garlic parmesan or the garlic parmesan sauce I make at home is actually a little lighter on the garlic, just because I know a lot of people don't bathe in garlic like my family does. The other one, and this used to be the highlight of the menu when we would go down a golf trip down to the 19th hole at Seaview. Google the ShopRite Classic for the LPGA, you'll get the golf course. But they used to make Old Bay wings, so it was like basically whatever fat they decided to put Old Bay in, and that is my current favorite wing, boneless, bone in, what have you. That is my favorite sauce. I mean, the buffalo sauce, yeah, I get it, but like, in the history of the wing, it was just fry some shit up. What do we have available? And put it together. But like, those two are my top two. Now, I didn't really plan on going in this direction because like there's so much other bar food that I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah.
But a good bar pie is hard to find, but when you do, it's one of those things that, let's face it, like if you go on an NFL Sunday to go watch the games, you're probably going to have two meals if you're one of those people. So bar pie fits in towards the end of the night, but a good one, thin crust, very good. If it's, frozen and stuff like that, I mean, you're half in the bag, so it doesn't matter. On the non-wing front, I mean, I'm a sucker for good mozzarella sticks. This one place I went to had cheesesteak egg rolls, which were,
Oh,
so good. And then you have other stuff like, like I see some places doing like a quick, small, down and dirty, like buffalo sauce or buffalo mac and cheese with chicken in it and stuff like that. That's always a good one. I know a few of my friends really like that. I think someone said it. I think someone said it in chat. I can't remember who it was, but like pretzel sticks with a good beer cheese is really, really good.
oh yeah. Doug said that up top. Soft beer pretzels. Yes.
The long and short of it is it more than likely incorporates either cheese or fat, protein, usually deep fried, and woefully unhealthy for you. But it's just like, and like the other side of it is even though our restaurant hasn't been open in a minute, like I work at a golf course with a bar, and like a lot of this stuff, it's like, well, what do I want today? Well, shoot. Well, looks like I'm going to have to go work out for 7 hours just to offset this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't, because it's here in the U.S. Like, I feel like wings are like the new bar food pastime, because
I don't think it's
people like make pilgrimages to find like the best wings in their area or the country. Like no one's making a pilgrimage to find the best bar pie. Like no one's doing that.
Have you?
Burgers, sure. Like people go around for like trying to find the best burgers, but again, like I don't think that's like a traditional bar food, because at high-end restaurants you're seeing burgers on the menu now. So it's not like a traditional bar food. Wings are definitely a traditional like bar food. They have wing joints and everything, but like if you're going to a bar, most bars have wings.
Right. But
period.
Dave Portnoy begs to differ. One bite, everybody knows the rules. He travels around to pizza joints and bars that happen to serve good pizza and stuff like that. So, like, not everyone.
Yes, but he's going to pizza joints. He's not going to find the best.
No,
bar
he's
pie.
been.
He's going to find the best pizza overall.
He's been to certain bars that have a good, because his preferred form of pizza is the bar pie style. But I agree with you. If you're thinking bar food and that it's, I mean, let's face it. There's Buffalo Wild Wings exists for a reason, Wingstop, your favorite haunt in college, exists for a reason, and
right, Wing Zone.
It's not like there's a bar up by me that has like close to 150, 200 different flavors of wings,
That's crazy.
I look, I get it. It's the wing. It's just like, when I think of bar food, I think of something that like almost just a step above something you'd find in your freezer, right? So like you can find chicken fingers in your freezer, you find this stuff or whatever, and you throw it in the toaster oven, like, and you cook it. They're like a little better. No, someone else does it, so it's a win there. Americans are lazy, but like, it's interesting. But like, because of the nature, I guess, to someone who doesn't go bars all that often, well, as much as we used to, versus someone who, like, there's only so many days in the week when you work 6 days a week and your lunch is at that place that you can eat wings, like, so like, right. I like,
yeah, you can't do wings every day or else you'll be 500 pounds by the end of it.
So that, real quick, I think Steve just sent 200 stars. Thank you so much, dude.
Yes. And he says hot sauce goes on wings. That's it with those stars. So I agree, Steve. Hot sauce does go on wings. Good job. And thanks for the stars, my friend, as always.
Brett goes, so I'm just going to check out chat real quick here. Brother Jimmy's in New Brunswick. Used to be the best, from our good friend Brett. Steve bathes in garlic, good for the pores. It's probably why my skin is so silky smooth.
Silky smooth.
Steve again, come down to Brick. I'll show you a delicious bar pie at my local pub. best burger is Krug's
Yes.
in Newark. Never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither.
Doug, I'm a regular at our local golf course bar. They even have me in their banner picture. I don't golf, but I drink. Atmosphere is always good. Food is often better than straight up bar food too. Like I said, when our kitchen was open, it was pretty much that. It was like, you stuff in your freezer, bar food, and then where we were at was just that little extra, a little bit more. You know, just because golfers are spoiled brats.
Accurate.
Justin, there's a good place called Wings Over, which is amazing. Unfortunately, it's in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Yes.
And if anyone knows better, don't go to Lowell unless you absolutely have to. Duly noted.
One, yes, don't go to Lowell unless you absolutely have to. It's terrible there. And two, yes, Wings Over is really good. There's a bunch of them, actually. There used to be, I don't know I think it's still there, but there's one at Penn State called Wings Over Happy Valley. And I think it's a chain that has it's in a bunch of towns. But yeah, I've had the wings from there, and they're really, really good.
And I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, this, I mean, it's not really a new idea, but this gives me an idea for some fun content, seeing as how there be some, I don't know, freshly finished builds in the summertime.
2 of them.
At least 2, maybe 3.
Maybe 3. At least 2.
And done is a relative term. As we will...
Yeah, right.
I don't know if I shared this, but yeah, the Mustang hasn't even gotten boost yet, and I'm already starting to buy parts for the next phase of it. So,
Yes.
but I don't know. I think it'd be pretty interesting to, find a good wing joint. Like maybe make it a road trip to go there. Road trip to try what the casserole that Chicago calls pizza. Just to get a taste of that. Maybe make a trip.
Yeah, because a great YouTube title is "We road tripped 9 hours, or 12 hours to get Chicago deep dish pizza." That's a great YouTube title, and then it's just pizza in hand. Focus on that. 2 cars in the background. That's a good YouTube thumbnail and title.
Cans of Tantrum littering the parking lot.
Yes, accurate.
Go up to New Haven, because apparently that's like the pizza capital of the world, or of America, I should say. Well, I guess world, because pizza in Italy is not what you'd expect. Think grandma pie.
Yeah, it's different. Well, I mean, it's funny. Like, everyone considers Italy the capital, but it was actually invented by the French. So, go figure.
And Greg has ruined pizza for me forever.
Hey, look. The French do a few things very well. Food is one of them.
And running away anytime they hear Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Well, yes, but they just run back to the food and make more. It's great. It's comfort.
For the Germans.
No, it's comfort for them, so they can get run over by the Germans. They're just like, that's fine. It's fine. Just don't take our kitchens. It's fine.
Steve, I'm just trying to get name back up there. LOL. I hear you, brother. My massive donation last week is kind of skewing that, but I haven't figured out how to delete those. So,
yes. Mark, when I said the French do a couple things well, cars is not. I mean, hey, look, they got Bugatti.
I mean,
that's about it. The end.
They have, Chrysler.
They have some Renaults. They have some Peugeots.
Stellantis owns Chrysler.
Yeah, they've got some things. But we'll say the French are very good at food. They're very good at wine, and they make the highest end car you can possibly buy. The end. Endless.
The French.
I'm half French. I can say these things.
Yeah, and that's why I only like 51% of you.
Yes.
My shipmates and I in the Navy, from Aaron, do an 800-mile road trips over the weekend to see family and try the local food. I put 20K miles in 6 months on my car. That is actually an awesome tradition. That's really cool. But yeah, I think it would be.
Yes, love that.
I think it. I honestly think like, you know, a title. I drove 500 miles in a supercar slaying Mustang for tacos. You
Yes,
know,
I like that.
I think
I can
that I
get
think
down with
that
that.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. And go from there. Steve, Chrysler
Yeah.
gets passed around like a town bicycle, pretty much.
Yep.
Still can't believe they owned Lambo at one point, but here we are.
Yeah, man. Lots of car companies own lots of different things.
And Lambo and Chrysler is owned by someone at some point. Almost everyone.
Yep.
Chrysler was found. Doug says Chrysler was founded as a rebranding of Maxwell. They really only were good while Walter P was around. I don't know who Walter P is.
Walter P. Chrysler. Also not true. I don't know who that is.
I don't know. That would have been my guess as well.
I don't know what Maxwell is actually, honestly. As a car person, I don't think I've ever heard of Maxwell. Bring it up, Chad. Bring it up. History of Chrysler, Wikipedia. Go.
Uh,
Oh wow, I was right. Walter P. Chrysler. Look at that. I was correct and didn't even know it.
company was named after founder Jonathan Dixon Maxwell, who earlier worked for Oldsmobile, and his business partner Benjamin Briscoe, an automotive industry pioneer and part owner of the Briscoe Brothers Metalworks. Briscoe was president of Maxwell Briscoe at its height. In 1907, fire destroyed a factory in North Tarrytown, New York. They opened a new factory in Newcastle, India. Reports of the day will operate as a whole, like an integral machine, the raw material going in at one end and the plant will finish cars at the end. Chrysler then took it over. Yeah, I'm not reading all of that.
Yeah, it's fine. You don't need to.
But the good Maxwell. History buff, you say, Doug?
Yes, Doug is a very, very big history buff. Now, I have a topic, a surprise topic, because Chad doesn't know about this, but I have a question for both Chad and the chat, because I'm very interested in your opinion. And by no means is this happening, but I'm curious to see what your guys' opinion is. And Doug, thank you for the 100 stars. There was a bad Maxwell too. There's always a bad. I mean, look, the name Maxwell, it incurs that there is a bad and good one somewhere. For example, there is a bad one that's at the top of the Formula One standings now. The evil Max.
Yeah, petulant child is
Supermax.
a better description.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, Maxwell coffee does suck. But anyway, surprise topic, because I'm curious of your opinions, both chat and Chad. And again, by no means is this happening. Should I sell the car behind me for a cheap but reliable daily and sports car combo? Go.
Yes.
Well, I knew that was going to be your answer. I'm more
Let me
interested in
elaborate.
what
Let
Chad
me
has to
elaborate.
say.
So, the daily, whatever, do you? The sports car would have to be interesting, or have an interesting plan or something, and preferably something that would be a good playmate for the Mustang, just for poops and giggles. I mean, any car you get, we can
Right.
do fun things with that and the Mustang. But you know, if it's, let me put it to you this way, right? Like, if the answer is daily and like a 4-cylinder Supra, pass. You know, or
Yeah,
like
no.
something like that. Like, if it's something like, I don't know, I know you have a proclivity for Jaguars, F-Type R or SV or something. Let's have some conversations about that.
Well, so here's the thing though. Before you continue, so book value on this basically right now, third party, you can get between 35 and 40K. Let's, for poops and giggles, say that I top it out at 40K, because the 6 cylinders for some reason aren't going for more than 40K, and they should be. They're rarer. They have a better engine. They're not newer, but they're not newer by 1 year to the four banger, right? With the turbo and supercharger. So, Steve, to answer to your question, just for what we're talking about, what did I miss? As I'm posing the question, it's not happening. Should I sell the car behind me, which is a 2016 V60 Polestar, which you guys know? For those that are watching that don't know, it is a 6-cylinder engine. It's rarer. There's only about 200 to 250 of these in the U.S. ever between 2015 and 2016. And should I sell this for a cheap daily and a sports car of some kind? Now, what I'm saying is you can get between 35 and 40K for these things right now. I have just shy of 50,000 miles. Mileage on these largely doesn't matter too much until you're getting into like the 80, 90, 100K range because they're very reliable. The engines are basically bulletproof.
Thanks, Ford.
The platform overall is pretty good. But the whole thing I'm talking about is using that 40K for both cars. So, Chad, to the point you just made, an F-Type R is sort of out of the question because I can trade this for a really low-end F-Type R that has a lot of miles, and that's pretty much it, and I wouldn't be able to get a daily at that point. So my initial sort of thought was to get like a mid-2000s Lexus of some kind. A little boring, but those cars will never die. And also maybe like an E90 or an E9X M3 again. So something like that. But
Pass.
I guess the larger question is, to you and chat, what two cars would you get in those criteria for around $40,000? What daily would you get that's going to be reliable? Doesn't have to be new, it can be older. And what sports car would you get for 40K total?
Now, I'll be perfectly honest. You know the market a little better than I do. So before we get into really anything I think of, you have the Polestar, your wife has the XC90, or does
yes, which we may be replacing because we're out of warranty, but that's neither here nor there for this conversation.
The long and short of it is
she'll have a big SUV
have
of some kind.
Two cars, basically, the Polestar and this. The 240s wagons. We'll set us all aside for a moment. So we're basically looking at a budget of about 25K for the sports car, 28, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Probably you can even maybe bump it up to 30 because you can get reliable Camrys for 10K. You can find plenty of reliable cars for 10K. But let's do, for this example, let's go with right around what you're saying. 25 to 28K for the sports car and around 12 to 15 for the daily.
So in the market we're in now, for a point of reference, my Mustang and similar, Camaro, Challenger, even though I wouldn't consider a Challenger a sports car, they're awesome, but they're quite hefty. I don't know, man. To me, what you're going to get at that range, I would keep the Polestar for that. However, I would also think of it from this respect, and you can go two ways with this. You can either, let's say you sell the Polestar, get a nice, responsible daily, whatever it is, interesting or not, it's literally there for you to be transported and things of that nature. And then that 25 to 27, you have no more payments on the Polestar? It's paid off?
No, I own it outright.
Okay, perfect. So, and then you can sit here and you can take that lump of money and say, pick one of your 240 wagon projects, and make that, because those are pretty dang light. I think they're right around 3,500 pounds, if I'm not mistaken.
3, actually.
Yeah, that's crazy stupid light.
Yeah, it is
So,
for modern cars.
you
It
know,
is. Yeah.
if you have a, you could make all the handling, you could put a pretty decent motor in it, and that could be your, that's a wolf, that's a sports car in wagon clothing, a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of a deal. That's where
True.
my
True.
brain goes because I like taking a car and then immediately customizing it. However,
Sure.
the other option there is let's say you get Polestar sells, you have a lump of cash. We're not going to the casino to try to make it double. Um,
No, no, no,
you
no.
have
We're gonna try to make double cars.
so you have your daily. Uh,
Hmm.
my other thought would be to keep that money aside. You're gonna have two 240 wagons. As much as this might hurt some of the Volvoists there, it's really not a need to have two.
Yes.
So we could add, let's just say it's the 245R project, right? That like is literally a ground up restoration. It's going to have the best of everything, assuming the time we're dealing in. There's a pretty sizable market for those. And then we have a chunk that, let's say you lop off another 10 to 20% of that and use it towards, say, a down payment on the XC90 replacement. We're still now looking at 40 to 50K. And I think that widens your berth, and it gives you,
Yeah.
you now have more to play with, and it gives you a little more time. So maybe the market kind of you catch something downturn wise, and that opens the door for a lot more interesting items, stuff that we've talked about in the past. Jags, Astons. I know you really like the E9X platform, but please no more. Um,
I don't know. I do love that platform just because it's the only M3 with a V8, and that's just unique and cool. Like I know everyone's like, "Oh, M3s are so boring. Everyone and their grandma has one, blah blah blah." But like, yeah, I mean that's true to a certain extent. But like the E9X platform is just really cool, and to have the one M3 with a V8, that's like a little
no, the
special.
one
And
mass
I've
produced.
said it
We've
before. I've
we've
said
talked
it.
about this before, Gregson. It's the one mass produced M3 with a V8. The E46 got a limited production run with a
Well,
V8 in it. Not
yes,
to be
correct.
that
I
guy,
mean,
but I need to be that guy.
look. I'm going to talk in clickbait whether you like it or not. So shut up. So I I don't know. I've talked about it before on stream. I'm very much about interesting cars, and that's why I really like this. Is because it's a fast Volvo, and one, no one expects fast Volvos for in general. Like enthusiasts get like, okay, they're a fast Volvo, sure, but like when you see a fast Volvo coming down the street, and I had it happen with my V70R countless times. Same with this, people turn their heads and like they snap their necks, like, what the hell was that? Like that's cool to me, but I don't buy them just for like the notoriety from the public. It's more of just like the interestingness of them, which is why if I would ever buy like a lightweight sports car, I would always go to like a Lotus, just because as unreliable as they are, they're interesting to me because of you don't have to have crazy power to have like an amazing track car. Those are cool to me in that respect. That's why I loved the V70R platforms, is because Volvo 5 cylinder, the sound was just so unique. I loved that. I gravitated towards that. Like every white block just sounds really cool. So I'm gravitated towards interesting cars, and that's again why I like this, is because it's a 6 cylinder engine developed by Volvo, built by Ford, transversely mounted. That's in this like big. This is essentially an E9X wagon. If you look at the dimensions between the two, the interior dimensions are very similar, give or take. It's all within sort of an inch of tolerance in shoulder room, hip room, headroom, blah blah blah. Because when I was shopping for this, I had to sell a V70R and my M3 to get this. So I was trying to keep it in a similar ballpark because, as I do have a 2-car garage here, the side that this is on is right up next to the door to get into the house. and there's a step there. So if I were to park, I'm in my wife's spot right now, sitting here, the XC90. If I were to park another XC90 over there, this garage would be almost, unusable because of how little room there is over there. So having a car this size makes a lot of sense over there. So I was looking for a car similar to an E9X platform in length, width, and stuff like that. So it makes sense. But I don't know. The E9X platform just is it's unique to me. I grew up on BMWs, so I do love BMWs. I have a soft spot for them. Again, the production V8 M3 aspect of it makes it cool to me. So I said production.
Mass produced.
Production. That E46 M3 was not a production car.
Was it or was it not produced? And did it or did it not get to the public?
Well, look, production in car terms means
whatever I say
produced for the public. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I thought it was just an interesting topic of conversation because it's been like kicking around in my mind. Probably not going to do it, but it's just something that it interests me. It's just like, and that always happens to me like every year or two. I'm just like, wonder what I can get for this car that could then parlay into the next couple cars. But you're right. Like there's two 240s that are going on right now. And, like I've talked with Aaron about it. Aaron in chat is one of the guys that's building the car with me. The other guy is Jesse Wildman. He's another supporter of ours out west. Like they both know that I'm probably not going to keep one of them. So it depends on which one, I like better. And then I'll sell the other, or, and utilize that to do another project and so on and so forth. But, it's just interesting to think about. So, but I like Mark's one comment of Chad is incorrect. Line the driveway. I would, except my driveway is short, steep, and my mother-in-law parks there, so it's not the ideal situation.
Last time, just as a point of reference, last time he did that, his Subaru viciously attacked the V70R.
I mean, that was a Subaru error, apparently, where the parking brake did not engage. But yeah, I mean, look, my dream garage would be to keep the 240, one of the 240s, either resto build essentially, and then get a sports car on top, like a Jag F type or some sort of fun manual car. But I also kicked around the idea of selling this and going straight up for like a Chevy SS manual, because one, again, rarity. They don't make them anymore. Two, it's not really a Chevy, it's a Holden. Three, it's a big V8. Four, there's an ample aftermarket. Five, they look amazing. They sound amazing. They handle amazing. They're cool. So, I mean, and they're interesting. Again, it's another interesting car because you don't find many manual modern up until like 2017 manual big V8 super sedans. So they just don't really exist much. So it's like you have that, you have the M5.
Doug makes a good point. He says the GTO has the right number of doors.
Which is 2. Yes. I'll tell you what though, when my kids are out of car seats, I will 100% be totally fine with a 2-door car with 4 seats. I'm totally fine with that. But since they are still in car seats, just to have the space, I do need 4 doors, especially with this garage. There's no way on that side of the garage, on the far side where the flag is, that I could get a kid in there with a car seat. It's just not possible, unfortunately. But anyway, random topic. Thought it would be good to chuck out there.
So Evo 9, got it.
I would love an Evo 9, and that would unfortunately make Hanson super jealous.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Well, he's not here to defend himself, so Hanson.
Yeah, Andrew in chat goes, welcome back, Andrew. The answer he's supposed to give is, as a VW fanboy, Dalia Tiguan Sports Car Golf R. That's not a bad garage, but
It's a good garage, but a Golf R is not a sports car.
Are we? Wow. Where's Brett again? Brett, mark the date and time for the record, please. Greg and I agree.
If you turn a Golf R into an RS3 clone, that is a sports car. But a Golf R straight up is not a sports car. That platform has tunability to very reliable 550 horsepower.
Oh, they're nuts.
And they're totally bananas when they're tuned, and they're good cars when just like stock. You know, they're great little cars. But they're not sports cars, unfortunately. I would go for Tiguan. Tiguan's a great daily. They're comfortable space. Any small SUV like that is good. And I think Andrew made a point about it earlier, back up in chat. For the daily, a small SUV like a CRV, they're great dailies. My wife had a CRV. They're reliable. They have good enough space. And honestly, like the whole daily aspect of it is like I just need space to take my kids to school, really, and like maybe get some mulch. That's really
Roof
all
rack.
I need the dailiness for.
Bolt seats to the roof.
Cool, but not National Lampoon, so no.
Right here first. Greg's a boring father. Continue.
Yes, I am. But I mean, like, I don't know. It's really just for the space for the kids and to like get some mulch. That's really all I need the space for right now. When they're out of car seats, it's sort of just like, it doesn't even matter because at that point you can kind of own whatever. So for now, I just need like a little space for the kids in their car seats. Called typhus. Mark booked them kids. Chad.
There's a reason why I celebrate not a Father's Day. If you want to take the whole not mentally equipped to handle children out of the equation, there's also there's not a chance in hell I'd be able to spend all the money on the Mustang if I had kids, and or the love of a woman who has obviously vision issues.
Can confirm about the money aspect of that. Can confirm. But interesting, two interesting points, both made by two different people. Both Mark and Aaron say Cadillac CTS-V wagon. I would love for you guys to try to find a good one for under $50,000 right now. The market for CTS-V wagons have gone absolutely to the moon for good ones. You can find sort of shit kicker ones for, I don't know, 40, 45K. And I'm talking like autos with, kind of like trashy interiors. But if you look on Bring a Trailer and other auction sites that have sold these, they're going for 60, 70, 80 grand now since the pandemic hit. People just know that you can boost them, they're reliable, and the manual ones are super rare. So you can't find them. So, yeah, it's not. And honestly, like I've never been a CTS-V wagon fan, strangely enough. I would much rather have this. I would much rather have the Polestar, even though it's not as powerful and it doesn't have a manual. This is a better daily, and it sounds good. So again, this is a more interesting car to me than a CTS-V wagon.
Greg, I want the Holden SS. Yes, I'm saying Holden because Greg seems to insist on that, even though they're owned by General Motors. That aside.
Yes.
What's that? A Cadillac badge in a wagon? Blasphemy.
Yeah, but the Chevy SS is a drastically better looking car than a CTS-V wagon.
I might be able to. I might potentially think about agreeing with that.
I don't think the Cadillac is attractive. I don't. I just never have. I think the Chevy is basically a Holden. It's the same body, just with a big Chevy badge. That's it. And I think it's just a better looking car.
Yeah, I do like the second generation of them a lot. It's basically a 4-door Camaro, and then we could do muscle car things together.
Yes, and that was the other thing. Like, I could have an SS.
Holy shit!
You could have the Mustang, and then we've also in our private shifting lanes chat, just between the three of us, have also learned that Hanson has a raging mega huge boner for the Dodge Challenger wide body, which is, we've all agreed, the best looking modern pony car.
Except for the GT500 Mustang and S550 trim.
Yeah.
We
Yes,
did not agree that the
the
Challenger
one
was better
exception.
looking. We agreed that it was of the stock. Like if you took like the what is it, the Scat Pack wide body, and put it up against the current GT and the current SS Camaro and stuff like that, I would agree the Challenger is the best looking of that bunch. But when the GT500 enters the fold, no question, it's the best looking one. That's why mine is going to look like one.
Yeah, and I mean,
and also, Greg, you should get a Cadillac because it's F1 technology.
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, not in 2012. Bro.
Made by Honda.
I was gonna say yes. It still ain't Cadillac technology. Andrew, and you're still driving a Long Island grandfather brand. Like, do you not see the Volvo behind me? I'm driving a grandfather brand as it is.
Who's vegan?
Who's vegan and also plays a wicked alto sax. Like, I also have many patches on my elbows. Like, come on. Cadillac is just an older Volvo owner. That's all Cadillac is.
I would say
my dad owns a Cadillac.
I would sit here and say, and I'm assuming we're all 8 of you are adults, I would say Cadillac and Volvo are of the same age. Volvo owners and on the whole basically are a more well-hung version of the Cadillac owners because they're more subtle and there's less cock extensions on the car itself.
Yes, we'll go with that. I like the way you're thinking. Give me more inches. I like this.
Yes. It gets you up to 1.5.
I've gone from this. Yes. I've gained an inch on my 1-incher. Great.
And it's Andrew makes the point. That's what makes Polestar cool. You can roll up to a valet and nobody knows it's special.
Yeah. Only to those, and that's what part of the reason why I got this is because like those that know, and that's cool. Like I've only been, I've been approached like maybe a handful of times about this car. Like, oh, I've never seen a Polestar in person. I was like, oh yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And like we got into a conversation about it. Whereas like, with like the Aston, everyone's like, oh yeah, Aston Martin, blah, blah, blah. Like it's, and those are cool and special, but like with the Polestar, there's just like, you get the like true enthusiasts with the Polestar car coming up to it. Everyone that's like an Aston is like, oh, it's a cool exotic car and blah, blah, blah. But like those that are really, really in the know are be like, yo, I get it. This is a cool car. I know how rare they are, blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. And that's interesting to me because I like having conversations with like that type of car enthusiast. So that's it.
So, and I'll close this on this particular point. When I was driving your Aston Martin, which also happened to coincide with shortly thereafter me purchasing the C30, I got more from my girlfriend at the time in the Aston. Well, not in the Aston.
Yes, thank God, not in the Aston.
Yeah, there's some never. No, definitely.
Right in the Aston.
That car got her going more than the C30 was nothing. It didn't matter.
Oh yeah, I mean.
So from that aspect.
I don't care what kind of Volvo enthusiast you are. If you're taking a C30 over an Aston Martin V8 Vantage, just hand in your enthusiast card. Sorry. I mean.
But there's some people who are building C30s to the point where they could have had a V8 Vantage.
Well, yes, I get that. But so I've actually had, and that's another interesting point. I've had
me procreating. Fun fact or a fun topic. Hey, chat, and we're what? -4 viewers.
No, but like it's an interesting point that you brought up just now because I've had this exact sort of debate and conversation in my mind. People are building C30s so that they could have had a V8 Vantage. So with that said,
they have the same infotainment system.
$35,000 to $45,000 with C30 mods and all in. You could have had a V8 Vantage. But the problem is they now have a fully built, bulletproof, and at that point it should be bulletproof, C30 that's a cool two-door hatchback that's going to be all-wheel drive, more than likely with that kind of price, blah, blah, blah. Or you can have a cheap, hand-built British exotic that you're going to now have to sink even more money into because that's just how those cars work. If those are the criteria, I'd probably take the C30 because you're going to get 500 horsepower out of it. And after owning an Aston and seeing the costs of running when something goes wrong, I would then choose the C30 because, again, at that point, with those two cars as the example, I would much rather have a car that's actually going to be able to run, whereas, knowing that a transfer case fix on an Aston Martin.
The internet's muting Greg. This is great. Did
you
just say transfer case on an Aston Martin? Am I going to have to drive over there and slap you?
Or sorry, not transfer case. Oh, God. Timing case. The timing case fix on an Aston Martin Vantage is $7,000.
So there's a simple solution to that. You spend $7,000 more and just replace
the Aston.
No, you replace the engine with a Coyote.
Well, yeah, but again, there's more cost involved in that. So now you're buying a Vantage, even with no engine, it's still $25,000.
I would wager
that's a good condition one with no engine.
I would wager that if you got a good, because okay, let's just say it's your C30, the C30 you like. If you're going for a fairly well sorted, facelifted C30, you're in the 10 to 15 range.
Yeah.
You then have to buy an all-wheel drive V50 or S40 with a manual and swap everything over, which I've been told by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Rich Forsyth, is anywhere from another 10 to 15. So best case, you're into it,
right.
into it 20 just for the all-wheel drive swap. Worst case, you're into 30. Then you have to get, then we're talking turbo swap, motor being built. So you're probably at the all-in, you're into it close to 50, 60K. A V8 what Vantages are going for, like 45 now?
A good low mileage one, 70.
V8 Vantage, like the one you had.
Yes, mine was also
way to
not
sell
good
that
or low mileage.
Right, but let's just say hypothetically we get yours with 50 to 80,000 miles on it, right?
Yeah.
We're talking
right. Are you talking right now prices or when I got it?
Well, we know what it was. It was I bought an Aston Martin for the price of a new Camry.
Right, exactly. It was $36,000. But right now, that car, if you took that car and transplanted it to today, as it sat, it would be $55,000.
Wow, you're a dumbass.
So again, it's the same argument. There are very high running costs for running a hand-built British exotic from the mid 2000s that just, I mean, it's a far more interesting car. It's a far better car in every conceivable way. But if we're talking about this from a enjoyment sense, from an enthusiast, if something breaks on that Aston, it's going to be basically sell the car and you're underwater, because that's the car you have. If you're talking about the C30 and building it to that craziness, you're going to have a car that is basically bulletproof, that's going to be fun on every public road in the entire country and in the entire world. So, I mean, if it's those two as the example, and I as an owner of the Aston, I would probably take the C30 just for those reasons. And if we're talking about other things in that realm, I wouldn't buy either of those things. But that's not the argument we're having.
Yeah. You make my heart hurt.
I mean, I would have the Aston over a C30 any day of the week, but the problem is the Aston just comes with like the gear, the engine on an Aston, on that Aston to replace is $45,000.
The what?
The engine.
Yeah, but then you put... No, it isn't. Coyote is like 12 grand to get a good Gen 3.
To get... Look.
Just
Most
because it
Aston
comes with a
aren't
certain
us.
part doesn't mean
I
you
would
have to
swap
replace it with the same part.
I know. Look, if my engine blew in my Aston, I'd LS swap it. It's the cheapest option. There are kits for it, and you can just do it. But the problem is,
God, you're boring.
most people that buy Astons are purists, so they are going to want to replace it with the Aston engine, which is exorbitantly expensive.
Right, but I'm not a purist because you put.
I know.
You put. I think honestly that's the best place for a Voodoo ever. Like if you think about it.
Oh hell yeah! Hell yeah!
I mean, granted,
a
that's
Voodoo engine in that car would be nuts. 8,300
RPM redline. Like we're talking.
Yes.
Ooh, this is a picture of the engine bay. The only issue would be fitting a Coyote, but at any rate,
look, they fit a V12 in there. They could fit a Coyote.
Well, length is not the problem. The Coyote is a thick girl. She wide.
Oh, I know. Have you seen the engine bay of a V12 Vantage? There is zero room. It's literally almost touching the freaking strut towers. There's zero. It is the literal definition of hot rodding, as Rutledge would put it. It is taking your biggest engine and shoving it into your smallest car. There is no room in that engine bay for anything else. I think a Coyote would probably fit.
That'd be an interesting thing.
I would say it would be. I would say it would fit. But anyway.
But yeah. So in this particular case, we are going to have to agree to disagree and agree that Greg is wrong. And I know Mark agrees with you, and you're probably talking sensible. But again, here's the...
Yeah, if I'm not talking sensible, I'm buying the Aston. But if I'm talking, like, sensible and I'm going to want to actually, like, drive the car without, like, worrying about it, because I'll be 100% honest, every time I drove the Aston, I was worried about it. And it's part of the reason why I sold it. Not just because I had, a second child on the way and I needed a big SUV, because we did, but it was because I was, like, scared that something was going to break on it. And I'm like, I didn't really... Like, I want another one, but only now because I know how to fix most of the stuff that would go wrong on it pretty easily on the cheap, because it's a lot of FOMOCO parts. But if it's just me as a consumer, from the sensible sense, the C30 makes a lot more sense in that respect. But as an enthusiast, and if it's me, like, my money would be going towards the Aston. Also because I'm a content creator. It's a more interesting car in every conceivable way. So... Like, I would much
except for
rather...
the infotainment system.
The
only
difference... Both of those infotainment systems are trash, so...
No, but what I'm saying is that they're the same.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that is an accurate statement.
And not for nothing, if you need new mirrors, just go to find an XC90.
No, the V70.
Point still stands.
Yes, yeah. I have there's an image on my personal Facebook page as my cover, and it was the V70R and the Aston right next to each other on my driveway, and I was like, oh hey, same mirror caps. Look at that.
Mark apparently disagrees with me vehemently because there's several comments in chat that we're just gonna ignore. No. Mark goes, I'll put it right here that my C30 would stay faced with the option of replacing it for the Aston, just for exactly the reasons Greg said. Don't listen to Greg. That number is ridiculously overgrown. I'm fixing to grab an all-wheel drive manual P1 for probably less than $2,000. I mean, probably an old S40 or S40 if I had to guess. I suppose you are 100% paying for the labor, and there's a bunch of stuff that goes into it that you would want to do to make this extremely expensive C30 build as reliable as Greg would have you believe. Someone lies.
Shimmed block or sleeved block, that kind of thing.
Right, but even before you touch on that clutch, flywheel, you're probably going to go through and at least make sure things like you're going to go through the transmission and replace some seals here and there. Same thing goes for the differentials. Same thing goes for like hubs and things of that nature, because if you're getting an all-wheel drive P1 for less than 2K, it's lived a life. So you're not going to want to throw those parts on your brand new build without going over them and things of that nature. The motor has to be raised, do the all-wheel drive swap. I'm not sitting here and saying that price-wise, I mean, given the market, it's not as a one-to-one as I originally thought. But there's a lot that goes... I mean, it's been done a ton, but there's so many different ways to... And then there's the Haldex computer itself, which sometimes works right away. Sometimes you need to look at it. So there's a lot that goes into it. If you want to get an idea of like the first phases of it, Moose Tech Garage on YouTube is where Rich is actually going through and building. I mean, it's kind of stopped. I haven't talked to him in a minute. I'm not 100% sure where that build stands. But as I understand it, there's 2 separate Ultimate C30 builds happening at the same time. One is owned by Imran. I'm not even going to try to remember his last name because I can't. And the other one is the one Rich Forsyth and one. But that is like 3-4 years in the making. So that car might actually be done. So, Mark, again, a limited slip diff up front. I don't know if the all-wheel drive cars come with a limited slip out back. My guess would be no. So there's a lot. There's just a lot to it. I mean, could you make it work for pretty inexpensive? Probably. Would you want to?
Yeah.
No, because then you're just going to be... No. There's no easier time to replace, hubs and things like that than when they're off a car. So might as well do it that. And lastly, on this, we'll to answer Steve's question, not only Tavares but also Doug DeMuro were previous owners of Greg's car that he sold for half the price he could have gotten.
No, that's not true.
In my brain, it is.
Well, I mean, if I hung on to it until now, yes, but no. At the time, those cars. I mean, I'll put it to you this way: 80,000 mile V8 Vantages, when I bought mine, were going for $25,000. Those same 80,000 mile cars right now are going for $45,000. So if I hung on to that car, I probably would have been able to sell it for $50K plus. The problem is, at that point, I would have broken even because I would have thrown more money at it, modifying it in some way. So I would have just broken even regardless. And I lost a boatload of money on that because I wrapped it, I put new wheels on it, and blah blah blah. But I only sold it for what I bought it for. So it was basically just a content machine. It was basically an investment for shifting lanes. So at that point, it was like, I needed a bigger car for kids. So bye-bye Aston, bye-bye WRX, hello XC90.
Real quick. So this is the engine bay in a V12 Vantage. See, it says it right yonder.
Yes.
This was
not a 6.0, by the way, funny enough.
It's technically 5.9 liters if memory serves.
Correct. They just rounded up because, numbers don't matter.
Yeah, we invented the metric system. I actually think that's a lie. But like, if you look,
can we just talk about how pretty that engine bay is for a second, though?
It is quite glorious.
So nice.
But I also want you to notice. So obviously a dual overhead cam engine. Most of the good modernish things. Notice the gap between the top of the. Well, these would be the can gear covers. Here. Mm-hmm. Compare and contrast to the distance between in the Coyote.
Yeah, but but that engine still fits between the strut towers. It's not about like the distance between. It's about does it fit.
Well, what I'm saying is
like
you have
you
have an engine with a V angle like this and an engine with this, right? So width becomes the concern. That being said, if the prices ever go back to being reasonable again, and or I can find one on Copart, 2027 Coyote swapping a V8 Vantage is a thing I want to do. Like, it's pretty
Yeah.
up there as far as things I want to do, because that would be a cool 5 to 600 horsepower NA build. Build it for RPM and the whole nine.
Yep.
That would be just a phenomenal build, and it would kind of serve the
Yeah.
purpose of, hey, your other Mustang is yeah, you're breaking
My other
laws.
Mustang's an Aston.
Well, there's that, but it's also, but like the Mustang I currently have is like,
Yeah.
hey, remember that time you broke the law in first gear?
Yeah.
'Cause-
That's gonna be that car.
Because what I don't think I've mentioned is that not only is the transmission being rebuilt, gear set, guides, synchros, the whole nine, but the ratios in the transmission itself are taller. So,
Right.
because obviously if you're buying this transmission, you're not doing it to a stock motor, so you're going to have a ton more power. So, they lengthen the gears, because I doubt first gear is going to be useful for launching that car still. It might.
Right.
But just to make it
Probably not.
usable is that.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Steve became good friends with Tavarish's friend Rex, and he follows him on Instagram. I might detailing job opportunity in the springtime. I just have to save up for the plane ticket. Good, awesome, man. I remember when we went to pick up the Aston Martin, though. I think our plane ticket combined was like $80, and our Uber to Tavarish's was like $120.
Also $80.
It's just insane, like
Yeah,
crazy.
because you guys flew Spirit Air one way and had no luggage. So yeah, of course it was gonna be nothing.
Exactly. Why not do that?
Yeah.
We traveled.
You're driving home.
I mean, we flew down in steerage and drove home in luxury. What's not to like?
That's right. Yeah. They're in the underbelly of the plane and drove home in first class.
Exactly. Terrified that I was going to bottom your car out because the suspension was so low.
Oh God, that was. I love Freddie, and I will never speak ill of him in many ways. But the one thing that he did to that car that I will always say was so dumb was put BC coilovers on it and just slam it to the ground.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Like,
have hills
the
in Florida.
The advantages are so low as it is. Like, that car on air suspension makes a lot of sense because you get the low, really nice look, but then you can air it up for actual driving as opposed to being static. Like, air suspension on a V8 Vantage makes a ton of sense. But like, yeah, it was way too low for just almost everything.
Yeah, it was well, the thing was it wasn't too low for like just a strictly usable standpoint. It was too low because it was like the tires were tucking too far in my opinion.
Yes, they were.
But what do I don't know? We don't have Car Trek.
Yes.
Still maintain I should be there, not Hoovy. But at any rate, God, I have so many tabs open. Hold on.
Yes. Hold that thought. You be entertaining. I shall return in 2 seconds.
Gotcha. All right, guys. For our next topic, we're gonna list our. Well, I have to limit it to 5, otherwise we'll be here all night. But things we don't like about Greg. Steve, go first. No, I'm kidding. Actually, totally forgot. That closed everything. Sorry, chat. Please hold. This is the exact opposite of entertaining. Oh, here it is. So, all the things I'd like to talk to you. Do a cool dance. I don't, Mark. That's not possible. Irish, Italian, and knees of an 84-year-old man. Just the unfortunate nature of youth sports. Steve goes, you should replace Ed. Greg's had the pleasure of meeting Ed. I don't think I've even talked to him or something like that. I like Ed. Hoovy was, I don't know. It's kind of an old grudge, but when he didn't like the way I described the E46 M3 when I was going over everything wrong with it. So it is what it is. It's more of a joke at this point. I'm sure he's a great guy. I never really got the chance to meet him in person, but it was like I said, it was a big channel knocking down a small channel. It just didn't sit well. But yeah, I actually recently have started watching more and more VinWiki, just some of the car stories and the sales and stuff, because to be honest, they're popping up in my Facebook feed when I'm just randomly scrolling, killing time during the course of the day. But yeah. Anywho, oh, I hear Greg's garage. Let's go to Greg Cam and all stare longingly at it to make it as awkward as possible for him.
Hello?
Shh, Chad, don't say anything. He has no idea.
I don't like where this is going. The only thing I like is that I know you're not here to sabotage my car.
Knock, knock, motherfucker. I would never, ever sabotage that car. That car is a cool, interesting vehicle.
Thank you. Agree.
And that's why, like, I don't mean to go back to a topic we kind of covered ad nauseum, but I feel like if you were to get a sports car, it would have to be something special or have something special planned. That's why I go with, like,
yeah.
I would almost, that's why I would lean towards turn one of the 245s into not only a, you know, great performing version of that, but turn that into a sports car that just happens to have a wagon body on it.
Right. Like, because you've always said the C5 Corvette basically has the same wheelbase as a 240, which would be a really cool kind of like body swap kind of thing to do. So, but that idea, right?
I'm not even talking. You know, I'm not even talking about
turning like a 240 into a sports car.
I'm not even. Okay, so like that is a build that even if you wait, you sell the Polestar, you don't even get a daily, and then you sell the other 245. That's like a body swap's not a cheap endeavor, right? There's a lot of engineering that goes in just the roll.
No, but that idea, right? Like sports.
I would say almost more the concept of, all right, how do we get a set of K? I don't even know. They might even make a set of KWs for 240s. They make it for damn near anything else. But like a really nice set of coilovers, really good sway bars, strut bracing, maybe some chassis bracing in the form of like a minor roll cage or something like that. Big ass brakes, even though it's going to have straight V70R brakes or S60R brakes, P2R brakes, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
big Brembos.
You know, and those didn't seem to have a problem stopping your V70R. So, like that would make for because it's one thing to make an old car fast in a straight line, but then like when you're like, you know, let's just say hypothetically, like you go out and Hanson's got his Veloster N, and you just smoke him in the autocross, right?
That would be cool.
That to me is almost more interesting than you getting like an SS. Like SSs are cool. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that they're the closest thing we've had in a very, 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 very long time to just pure NASCAR, like on the street.
Yeah.
Kind of the ethos of it. You know, pushrod V8, 4-door sedan. Like, it came as close to matching the actual race car without sharing anything in common with the race car. But I think that's cool. But, like, I just sit here and think, like, what would you do to it? Okay, it's an LS3. You probably put a PD blower on it. Make about 650 wheel, which is cool and fun. Or you have a 500-600 horsepower, red block powered sports car 245.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a reason why I wanted to build a 240. It's because they're cool, they're nostalgic, they're definitely having a moment. You know, either one of those cars when finished, it's so hot. His name is Hansel 245. Like either one of those cars, when fully done, can sell between $15,000 to $30,000 because that's just the way 240s are right now. People want them. People want the nostalgia. And that's just like, for good examples, that's just what they're going for, especially restored ones. So, I mean, there's also the wagon tax. Wagons, by and large, on auction sites like that, go for almost double what the sedan or coupe variants go for. Same is true for the 240 platform. The wagons go for far more than the 242s and 244s. So, and then then you utilize that. You utilize that to then parlay into another car, or use one of the cars for a sports car. Like, there's a lot of options. So, like, for me, I really wanted 2023 to be like the year that I got like a sports car, because it's just something that I've worked so hard for the last 5 years that I really wanted it to be. But it's looking more like 2024, maybe even 2025 are the years for that. And 2023 is the year where both 240s kind of get done. And then we utilize that to like continue to grow the channels. And and that's perfectly fine, because this is a sports car in a lot of senses of the term, especially when I'm going to be done with it. To have about 500 wheel torque, and with this, like, with all the upgrades, and like I said with the Golf R earlier, with what Andrew's talking about, stock, this is not a sports car. Neither is a Golf R. When the Golf R is done, like an RS3 tuned is, the same way this is, because you can make this, it will be like a sports car slayer. Like, this will be just as fast as a 997 Carrera when it's all said and done. On track, on strip, blah, blah, blah. So, use this or upgrade this and the 240 and utilize that this year to do that. And then next year for the sports car, I think is sort of the play. And Steve, to answer your question, that noise was a helicopter going way too close to my house. It felt like I was going to be landed on in my backyard for a medical extraction of some kind in my neighborhood.
And then to answer, I think it was also Steve. Where is it? Someone asked. No, the Mustang is not done. It is as disassembled as it needs to be.
Soon.
But the transmission should be done and shipped at some point this week. They should have gotten parts last week or today, tomorrow, is what I was told. So right now, the car it just has the trans and drive shaft out. So it's a roller, basically. And it will, because they could pull it in, do all the supercharger work, the rear suspension work, the axle work. They could do all of that. But then it would have to come off the lift while they wait for the transmission and then put it back in. So the simpler and easier solution is just bring it all in at once, do all of the work in the 3 to 4 day time frame, and then it should be done. It should, if everything goes according to plan, it should be ready for tune in a week or two.
Nice.
But that being said, Greg, be entertaining for a moment.
Yes, and perfect timing for that, because Steve's question was, will it support 500 horsepower without much mods? Is talking about this car. And Mark answered yes, easily. I will counterpoint that with no, it will not. And the reason being is the transmission and the torque converter. Puppy! Hi, Puppy!
He's never got to sit here, so he's confused. And he's being a pain in the rear end.
What kind of dog is that again?
It's a cockapoo. It's
Cockapoo.
My mother's dog.
Cool.
But he listens
Golden
to me.
Doodle. Got it.
Attack dog.
That is super not an attack dog. If by attack dog you mean a couch cuddling dog, then yes, total attack dog.
Oh, he attacks stuffed animals like no tomorrow.
But yes, going back to the car and the cockapoo's adorableness that is Jazz
back
dog.
to Greg.
So the problem with this one is the transmission. And it's not necessarily a problem, because the transmission, it's fine. It's a torque converter automatic. It's a 6-speed. It's an ASIN transmission, and it's fine. The one after this with the four banger is an 8-speed transmission, and it's a drastically better transmission. The problem with this one is that the transmission is holding the car back from anything more than about like really maxed out 400 wheel horsepower, and it's been done before. There's a YouTube channel called Built for Speed. The guy has, I think it's a R design version of the P3 platform, and he's basically maxed it out to what he could do. And he dynoed it at, I think, 500 wheel torque and 398 wheel horsepower. So 500 horsepower at the crank. Maybe with parasitic loss, I still would say no. I would say it's probably more between 450 to 475, which again, it's not it would be no slouch by any stretch of the imagination. This car with over 400 crank horsepower and around 500 crank torques is bananas. As it sits, as it sits stock, it's quick. I did the quarter mile in 13.3 in this car, and that was better than what Volvo claimed, than what most people claimed. I think the record, from what I saw online for this thing, bone stock was 13.1, which is very impressive for a 3,900 pound car. But this thing, I still have to dial in the tune with Hilton, but this thing with the dialed in tune from Hilton and the downpipe, I would imagine this thing's in the 12s. I would fully expect it to knock between 0.4 to a half second off of the quarter mile time, because it's quick as it is, but I don't think I'll be getting 500 horsepower out of this car, nor would I want to, because again, and this is part of the why I brought this whole thing up, was like, this is my daily. I don't want to mod it to the nth degree where it really can't handle it. So for me, this car with a upgraded intercooler for better cooling, because this car has definitely has I wouldn't say overheating issues. It definitely has an overheating tendency, because when I stop, the fans turn on this thing on a hot summer day to just continue the cooling for sure. It's definitely a good platform, but it's not a platform that's crazy tunable, but it's tunable enough that it's still fun to do. So I fully intend on doing the normal stuff, the bolt-ons. I want the intake, even though it does nothing in these cars, just because I want more noise. I want like a Do 88 drop-in intercooler. I do want a hybrid turbo, which would be really nice to have. Although the turbo in this is upgraded from the R designs, I've come to find out. It is an upgraded turbo, and the Elevate intake manifold, and just some other bits and bobs, bolt-ons that will make this car just like more fun overall. But also not just power mods. Like, this car does have other mods that I can do. There are upgraded sway bars. There's a strut tower bracing. There's KWV3 coilovers, which, from what the entire Pulsar community is telling me, are drastically better than the Öhlins dampers on this thing. I also want to roll the fenders and get better wheels and tires for it. So there's a lot still to be done on this car. It's just with this car and then the 240 builds, like, it's a lot of money that I don't have lying around. So I want to do things unfortunately slowly, and that's not conducive for YouTube or getting views and stuff, but that's just how it kind of has to be. And especially with the revival of the 245 build out in Oregon and the 245 we're going to do with Aaron here on the East Coast, like, those are sort of the focus right now, to get those two kind of done and dusted by the summer, so that one of them can either be sold or whatever, to then make more money for this, and then the other one gets driven for a year and gets sold. I don't know. Until I get those cars, I don't know what's going to happen. But this car with 500 horsepower at the wheels is not possible. As far as everything I've researched, it is not possible with this transmission, because the torque converter holds it back. I don't think I've seen the 4-cylinder with 500 horsepower. So I don't think this platform can hold 500 horsepower as far as what's been done so far. If there was more R&D done into it, maybe, and I might be able to do it. But again, I don't really know. Yeah, that's also part of the reason why I was just like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to have a V8 that could tune or put a supercharger on that could make 600 horsepower for no reason. So part of the reason why I was just like, yeah, that would be kind of cool, and why I brought up the topic that just
V8s
took
V8s are
basically an
awesome.
hour.
Get a V8.
I know. I want my next car to be a V8. Like that's again another reason why I brought up the topic. I'm just like, well, what if I bought like a mid 2000s Lexus LS, which is going to be reliable to basically Kingdom Come, and then got again an E9X platform,
Or
V8, V8 M3, cool.
ooh, the plot moistens.
Don't say moistens.
Moist.
Ugh.
One, I agree with Mark. One of the 245 should be a V8. And
Yes.
son of a, what did thank you, Mark. You ruined my train of thought. Say what you were saying before.
I was saying get an LS
Oh
from
yes,
the
yes,
mid 2000s.
yes. Get a late 90s, early 90s Lexus LS. Comes with a 1UZ. Those can make 500 horsepower pretty dang reliably. Unfortunately, you run into the same problem you run into now, transmission. Because Toyota was great at
Right.
making engines and then really stingy with putting the good transmissions and stuff.
Right.
Chat is now moist.
Stop saying moist. Yuck. Super. Look, Facebook and other streaming platforms do not like the swears, but fucking yuck. Stop saying moist. God damn it. So gross. Worst English word. Oh, I hate you guys. I love you. I hate you guys. Stop it. Ugh. Hide my turtle shell. No more moist.
But the 1UZ is a fantastic little V8. Actually, this is easy. This is so easy. It's almost 1UZ in one of the 245s. Done.
I would love that, but again, like I'm a huge fan of engine swaps, but the problem is an engine swap like that to get it to work is going to cost that minimum $10,000 to $15,000. Like the engine, like it's cool, the engines are cheap, but
that leaves you
I can
with
guarantee you right now there are zero people running that engine in a 245. That does not exist. We would be the first people to do that.
Sounds like a YouTube series. If I ever heard one, am I right, chat? Can I get a moist in chat if that should happen?
Thank you, Aaron. Balmy is a better word. I like balmy ball.
Swamp ass.
Swamp ass is a fine term.
But
moist is not.
But given what we talked about earlier, that leaves you with $13,000 to do other things.
Well, right.
And if you're going to do an engine swap, the older platforms are the one to do it because there's not so much going on with integration between the engine harness and the engine management and the body computer, the computer for the rest of the car.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean.
And also, full transparency, if I'm going to get a Toyota V8, I'm probably going to get an ISF.
I mean, the 2UR is another option.
It's pretty awesome.
I mean, well, there we go. I wonder what those are going for right now. Please hold.
Last time I checked, high mileage ones were still around 25. All
right, so
like 20, 25, 30. Like I would do that.
Why is this not? I like how they have the RC and the RCF, but they just have the IS. What the hell?
Wait, are you on Car Gurus?
Yes.
Oh, so Car Gurus is very good, but also stupid. I think with the IS, you have to go into the IS and then search by trim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please hold.
It's not its own separate thing.
Do. All right. So 80,000 miles, $2,400. Although someone stanced the ever living crap out of this one. I mean,
$2,400? You mean
$24,000. Sorry.
$24,000? Okay, there we go.
But what if it was? No, I'm kidding. But what if?
No.
But okay.
But how many thousand miles? 80?
I'm rounded up too. It's in
Oh.
Mobile, Alabama. But I don't know what's going on with
that's
this.
like nothing.
I don't know what's going on with this rear. Yeah, the rear wheels have some camber going on. But I mean, dude, that is your daily and sports car in one. Massively more interesting than anything with a fucking BMW badge on it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what was the power of that? 415?
415 to 470. Yeah, 415. But that's
Yeah.
what the heck is it? It doesn't take much to get that 50 horsepower. And we're not even talking. I mean, we're not even talking like headers or anything like that. 2
bolt-ons and you're fine. But the thing is, like, it's so like you could sell this. So again, say 40K, you get that. You're at 25, right? Essentially 25. Say 5K for mods installed, and you're at 450 horsepower. Crank, great, love it. Get a nice exhaust with that too.
2-year UR sounds
you
epic.
You still have 10K to work with. So
right, and that's when you put a T56 in it.
I would be willing to wager that a T56 swap in that would be more than $10,000. I think the chat doesn't even answer and just starts typing. It's like, I will prove you wrong, even though I know you're right. But I will prove you wrong.
There's a swap kit.
Wait, seriously?
Oh no, sorry. It's for my generation Lexus, and it's.
Oh, I was gonna say what?
And it's $5,700 just for the kit. But that's including the transmission.
So there you go.
That's, I mean,
there you go.
Or you get my generation IS300. You know.
No.
Why not? It is the most forward-thinking and best-looking
no.
sports sedan. Come on.
No. I need a V8 in my life.
You can put a 1UZ in that, make 500 horsepower, and there's kits galore for it.
No, I'm okay.
Ugh.
Good.
I'm still looking. Oh, hold on. Oh, no.
The other part of the modern thing, the modern side of this, is the safety aspect. Because again, my kids are riding in this. So this is a 2016, and a 2016 versus a 2002 or comparable IS is a very different safety scenario. So an ISF is a bit more modern to the sense where it's only about 6 years less than this, where it has side curtain airbags and it has side crumple zones. So like it's more comparable to this than your gen IS would be for sure. Get a used Tundra. Yeah, honestly, it's crossed my mind. A truck and a sports car would be very cool. The problem is, again, I don't have anywhere to park the truck because my mother-in-law's car is in the driveway and I don't have a wide driveway. I have a two car wide driveway. That's all I can fit. And in the driveway, I can only fit 4 cars total.
Huh.
So
you want to know what one of the first videos that pops up when you search manual swapping ISF?
Is it one of yours?
Yes.
What?
It was
makes absolutely no sense.
We're building the ISF Lexus should have made 15 years ago.
Nice. I like it. So, but getting way too deep into personal things here is, so my mother-in-law has been here for over 3 years now. The whole thing with, and it does come back to cars, so bear with me. The whole thing with my mother-in-law being here was she sold her place in Keansburg, New Jersey, and was going to move in with us, and did, to then find a place up here or comparable up here to her place to be closer to us, closer to the kids, blah, blah, blah. But right after she sold her house in October of 2019, guess what happened in March of 2020? We all know, fun stuff. So up until like this point, it's never been a realistic thing for her to like stay here long term. So she has the money from her house sort of just like sitting in the savings account. So what we need to do, and again, this is the year where we kind of figured all this out, is she going to get her own place, or is she staying here long term? There's a couple of different options. We could build onto this house to like give her her own space, or we move and find something with like, you know, a mother daughter, right? And if we move, you know, what kind of property is that? You know, we'd have to assess that as we go. But if we're doing it here, we build onto the back end of this house because you can't build side to side. One side has an easement on it, and then a hill, and the other side is just way too close to the other property. Like you can't build sideways, but you could build into the backyard where you give an extra space there. And at that point, you could widen the driveway. And what you could do is, I mean, you can't see it obviously because it's one dark out and I'm not opening my garage doors, and you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. But you could widen to get one more extra like line of cars. So if that's the case, then we have the potential to like get more cars here to actually be utilized at the house. Like mine, my wife's, whatever she has, XC90 or Hyundai Palisade or whatever she wants. Then we have a 245. We have my mother-in-law's car in that new driveway space, and then I could have essentially 3 or 4 cars here. So within the next couple of months, we're going to have that conversation to be like, well, what are we doing? Are we staying here? Are we moving? Are we finding another house? Are we building onto this house? What's going on, to the extent of personal living, and how is that personal living then going to affect other things, you know, with driveway expansion, house expansion, blah, 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 with her money that we would be utilizing for, you know, her own living space to be with us, you know, forever. So we'll see what happens, but I think within the next couple of months I'll be able to figure that out, and you know, we'll see what happens. But if we do end up staying here, we will be widening the driveway because I'm going to make that a prerequisite to that happening. With that said, that then opens the door for other things. So we'll see. If we end up moving, a prerequisite for moving would be a driveway that would be conducive to like 4 or 5 cars. Because, you know, even if it's, you know, now, you know, we also have 2 kids. So they're also going to have cars, you know, in 15 years. Actually, not even 15 years. My one son's 5 now. So in 13 years, you know, you have to think about like, oh, okay, well, even if it's just Kate, me, and the boys, that's 4 cars at minimum. I'm also a YouTuber. Probably not going to just be 4 cars, right? So these things we have to think about. So within the next couple of months, we'll probably have a path forward for all of that. So yeah, we'll see.
So you can get 420 to 450 wheel horsepower for, and I don't know why it's not letting me do this. I'm trying to figure out the price. I accept. So for basically $3,700, you could get 400 and we'll call it 30 wheel horsepower, which is knocking on the door of 500 out of the ISF.
What car? Oh, what? Wheel?
They were getting people were getting about 448 and 4 wheel horsepower and 421 torque at the wheel, but that was on E30. So if you take it down a notch or 2 because of 93,
a notch or 8.
I mean, it's only E30. It's not like we're talking about E85. I mean, most fuels we get up here, especially premium, are E10. So,
yeah.
I mean, almost 500 horsepower. That's intake, tune, headers, and that's like clicking every option, like ceramic coating, titanium header wrap, head gaskets, air oil separator.
And how much was this?
This was, I sent it to you in the our chat.
Mm-hmm.
But all in, it's this doesn't have shipping, so take what you will for shipping, which is insane at
Right.
the moment.
Mm-hmm.
30.
So intake, spider's nest headers, and tune for $2,900.
Right, but if you go through and you look at the options, you're going to want to get ceramic coating on the header. You're going to want gaskets. You're going to want the separator, especially on an engine that revs that high. But
What's the RPM on that engine?
it's 72 to 75. It's very
Oh, okay. That's higher than I thought it would
very
be.
similar to the Mustang. The 2UR is
Yeah.
very similar to the Mustang. And it's a 5-liter V8, so you're moving a lot of air. So you're definitely going to want like a
Right.
catch can.
Huh.
But yeah, dude. Like V8s are awesome because
Wow.
you can, you put a freer flowing exhaust on it. I mean, the 2UR sounds epic.
All right. This is now the second chopper that's come over my house. Like, I feel like they're looking for somebody, and someone has like escaped from jail around me.
The police scanner says there's like a red Volvo they're searching for. But yeah, I mean, the 2UR is such a it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I would make the claim. I'm going to make the claim. I don't think there's a better Japanese V8 ever made.
Wow. That's very bold.
I mean,
Very bold.
I'm.
But even coming from you, who is a huge Japanese V8 fan.
I mean, think about it. Nissan made some V8s they're pretty good. Don't get me wrong. The VK56, I think it is, you can make into a rev monster, but you
Yeah.
have to do internals to it to make it
Yeah.
like that. I don't think Honda has ever made a production V8. Mazda can't think of one.
No.
Is there a company I'm forgetting? I mean, even in Toyota's own
In
port,
Japan, no.
even in Toyota's home portfolio, the 1UZ is a great engine, but it can't hold a candle to the 2UR.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So, but I mean, it's a great motor, and those motors are pretty expensive. Actually, if not comparatively speaking, right? But if you compare it to like Gen 2 Coyotes, they're a little on the expensive side for similar power, which also makes
Yeah.
the Coyote just that much more impressive. That much what they did for versus Lexus.
Right. Interesting.
Justin, you're quite possibly right. My extent of knowledge of Suzuki is the Swift.
I'll be right back.
Gotcha. So, but yeah, what is this? At any rate, let's not stare at that. See, this is where stuff gets fun, chat, because shopping for car parts, it's what I do. I mean, just a tune makes. Let's see here. A tune on it. Blah, blah, blah. Come on. Get to the good stuff. R racing. Yeah, I mean, just the tune is intake high flow exhaust. So an exhaust is worth about 5 horsepower. Okay. We're not going to decap things. But, I mean, yeah, the two... Where's the puppy? It went upstairs. Yeah, he's a bit of a pain in the rear end. But he's upstairs with my mother at the moment. Mark, while we are on great engines, I discovered the magic that is a Cummins 12 valve. Absolutely, Cummins the 12 valve, and if you're interested in the Cummins, let me just see. I'll pull it up and I'll post it in chat. The Skid Factory did a Cummins swapped Patrol, which is a mid to full size SUV over in Australia. Here we go. But yeah, you have. Oh God, that's not muted. Yeah, these diesel engines are actually. Let me put it to you this way: if I played around with the idea of, I played around the idea of getting something, like a Ram with a Cummins or something like that, an old 15 or 2500 or something with a Cummins or something like that. It's just the rest of the vehicle isn't. Those generation Rams are quite prone to rust, so I don't really want to deal with that. And I also like the idea of a pre like if and when, hopefully when I get a truck, like I want to make it a pre-runner. That's kind of the style, so that's why I immediately gravitate towards things like the Raptor, which are kind of already a production-based pre-runner. I kicked around the ideas of getting an old Taco, doing like a 1UZ swap, like I said, or even more specifically a 2UZ swap, because in '06, that generation Taco slash Forerunner, the Forerunner and the GX 460 still comes with a 2UZ. It's a subframe swap, so as long as you have to get the right subframe with provisions for 4-wheel drive and stuff like that, there's there was a lot of potential there. But then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, do I really want, like, I'm not kidding. The Mustang build is huge. All in, I'll probably be 25 grand to 30 grand in just in parts, let alone labor or anything like that. Mark, that's awesome. No rust. I would Google. There's a fix for it, like water collects by the rear above in the rear wheel well, and that's what leads to these things rusting out beds. I would look into that, just because if it has no rust, probably good idea to keep it that way. There we go. Here's the playlist. TD42. That's not right. Hold on. I will find this because now I'm down the rabbit hole. Sorry, chat. VA. Where's the patrol? Let's get Turbo LS Skyline. Rolling Commodore. Build reviews. Huh. I don't know if they made a playlist about this. Well, that's annoying. Anywho. Aaron, Google the Volvo 7... D24T DDIC. A Volvo rolling coal. Now, there's something interesting. Ultimate. Oh, that's specs. Never mind. Let's just go to images. I mean, it makes sense that Volvo made a diesel sedan, wagon, whatever, just because, they do that over in Europe because gas and diesel are the same price and diesel's more efficient. So it makes sense. I mean, not 100% sure it'd be my full cup of tea. Like I said, if I'm playing around with diesel, I want to play around with trucks. Like, call me old-fashioned, but no, I mean, let me put it to you this way. There's stuff like that. There's an Audi, or I'm sorry, a Mercedes wagon drift vehicle floating around. I love the idea of, people doing crazy stuff with diesels. If you're familiar with... No, I was going to say, if you're familiar with Matt character from Demo Ranch and more specifically Off the Ranch, he did a Cummins swapped dually Barracuda. It's not a Barracuda. It just happens to have a Barracuda body on it. Yeah, Aaron, you're 100% right. The 12 valve is, I think the 12 and the 24 valve, as long as you're getting them from this country, well, long and short of it is, I don't know specifically the engine code you're looking for, but from what I understand, the Cummins 5.9s are, if you avoid any that were produced in Brazil, I guess is the short version of that statement. Doug, if I watched any other YouTube channel, obviously I don't, then Demo Ranch would be a fun one. Yeah, I kind of.
I appreciate your patronage to us, two idiots, as opposed to Demo Ranch.
Yeah, I mean,
This is why we love you, Doug.
yeah, I mean the guy has literally a crystal play button. We're still working for our silver. Hopefully this year, definitely 24.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
it'll happen in 24 for sure.
but like I just want to pull it up just so chat can see the ridiculousness of this vehicle. But he's running into one of the problems that I would have is the diesel stuff is you can get insane power with them, but eventually you're going to have to do it with some potentially rolling of coal. And that's just not something I'm about. So, but yeah, it's the Dually Cuda on Off the Ranch. He has some pretty. Matt has some pretty interesting builds there. He has that. He has a Mustang, an old classic '60s Mustang that he put a GT350 front end on. Repro, not an actual. Like, he didn't sacrifice a real GT350 to do it. And then with the back end of a Ranchero. And of course, it's powered by a Power Stroke because Ford V8 diesel.
Because why not?
He has an El Camino with LS Power Pro Charged. That's a burnout car / lowrider / hydro car. Which is objectively obscene.
Yeah.
So like he's got interesting car takes. So and I won't really weigh chat too much down with that, but like definitely go check out his cars because if you're into weird different stuff, he's definitely got the weird and the distance.
Yeah.
So just Mark goes, chat ain't gonna lie. I'd love to have a diesel 245 just for the stupid level of reliability, ability to run any oil as fuel. I mean,
pretty much.
Yeah. So, Greg.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about next?
I think since we have our ride or dies with us, let's choose you a Mustang wing.
Okay. Greg, while I pull some things up.
Yes.
Do me a solid and...
No.
Okay. Do chat a solid.
Okay.
And kind of give your philosophy on body modifications in a short form.
My philosophy on body modifications, like what I think is best.
Yeah.
Sure, I can do that for several hours, but I'll make it a 2-minute thing. So while Chad's bringing that up, body modifications on cars are a really subjective topic, obviously, and you have everything from wide bodies like Liberty Walk, slam to the ground craziness to very like tasteful OEM plus stuff, which is what I'm actually doing to this car. So this right here, this lovely rear view mirror that I'm highlighting with my finger, the mirror cap here is actually carbon fiber, and it is an OEM thing. Volvo, there's a Volvo part number that you can go on their parts list and get a carbon fiber mirror cap for this. But it wasn't available in my year. So for 2015, 2016, they didn't offer it. for 2017 plus, because they didn't change the body, obviously you can just retrofit it onto this, which is what I want to do, because I have the carbon fiber front lip, I have the carbon fiber side skirts sitting in my basement, just ready to get installed for spring. I have this because it's a nice little tasteful OEM plus look, even though a little bit of it is OEM. OEM plus could be a little bit lower, you know, a nicer wheel, but it still stays true to the ethos of like the car. Then you have everything from like crazy camber to like slamming it to air ride suspension, everything, and wide body kits and blah 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 for like every other car. So my philosophy is to go OEM plus or tastefully modded. I'm not a huge fan of going completely balls to the wall. Liberty Walk kits, I think Liberty Walk kits are ugly. I'm not
Depends
a
on
huge
the
fan.
car.
I like wide body. It depends on the car, right? Like Stradman's, I'll be 100% honest. Stradman's wide body kits on his Aventadors actually look really good. And I was really surprised by that because I hadn't seen an Aventador that had been wide body that I actually liked until he did his pink one, which I think looks really awesome, quite frankly. And there, like certain wide body kits on cars look really cool, like wide body R35 GTRs. Some of those kits look so nice, and some of them just look like hot garbage. So again, it's a subjective thing, but for me, I like an OEM plus look or a tastefully modded look. Where it doesn't go too over the top, but it doesn't, you know, just stay stock. You know, I want to make it my own, but I also don't want to go completely, you know, off the wall insane. That's my whole ethos.
Okay. So you would sit here and say that your ethos on a road car is to basically keep it looking like a road car. You don't want to give any pretense of quote unquote race car or something like that. You're leveling up almost, like, you know, you've got.
Yeah, and
Okay.
again, to what you said, it depends on the car. So like obviously, if you're a great example of this is like a Subaru WRX STI, which already has a big park bench for a wing. So if you upgrade the wing, I would keep it similar to what it is and make it park benchy, but make it more functional. You know, if you're gonna like, you know, the Subaru WRX STI type TA, like the time attack version, has like an upgraded wing that's not like an OEM version. It's sort of a bolt-on version that's more functional, but also still looks cool. Like that is okay in that application, but I wouldn't go with like massive. I wouldn't put like a Viper freaking wing on a WRX, which is what a lot of people want to do. Like that's just stupid. So you know, it's one of those things that I'm not a big fan of over the top. And I see your face. You're trying to get rid of those comments in chat. We're getting some spam over on YouTube.
Yeah, the problem is I don't see them. That's the problem.
You don't see them?
Like if you go into the YouTube back end,
yeah,
they've already been removed.
Oh yeah, I don't see them on the stream either.
So
Interesting.
So let's just do.
Refresh the chat.
There.
There we go. Nice.
Yes, we are popular enough for adult spams now.
Yes. Lots of prawn spams. I love prawns. Prawns are delicious. But yeah, like for me, like it depends on the car. But yes, OEM plus, and like race car looks are cool on certain cars. E46 M3, very cool if you do like a GT3 build on that. Porsche 911s, also very cool looking with GT3 race car builds. But a Volvo V60 Polestar, not so much, I don't think. Yeah, so like again, it depends on the car, but personally, I like OEM plus or tastefully modded.
Gotcha. So that brings us neatly to a topic I've been looking forward to kind of talking with chat and stuff for quite some time now. And that is like getting them on board with like picking a part for our car, and eventually, hopefully, someday we can get to a chat built our car. Like we sit here, we have a budget, we say here's what we want to do, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, Mark is right. That was 2 minutes. It was more like at least 10.
Yes.
Me talking.
I'll pass on the obvious baby making joke here. It's only going to be 2 minutes. Felt like 30. Your poor wife.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, at any rate, like, I really like the idea of chat getting into kind of helping us modify our cars, being more engaged with the channel, being able to sit here and go like, "Hey, we picked that," in the car when we do kind of do the long form videos. So, I guess starting with your kind of idea of, we're going to start with Justin's submission for a wing, and that is, this is a straight GT350 wing, I think he said. That's kind of look from the other side. That is subtle, that is street, that's kind of going with your kind of mindset of keeping it within the family kind of a thing, right? Like, this came on a Mustang, therefore it should fit on a Mustang. Stylistically speaking, of course.
Sure. Yeah. I wouldn't even call that OEM plus. I would just call that OEM.
Right. Because it's OEM.
It came on a Mustang. It was made for a Mustang.
Yeah, it's just made for a higher an OEM level of Mustang.
Yes.
Doug donated 100 stars for the shiny diamond interior sticker accessories. I did click on your link. I did respond. No. We're getting to a free preview here.
Thank you for the stars.
You know what? I appreciate you. I love you for sending the stars. You're, as Greg would say, a legend. I would rather not have basically birdshot sprayed in my face if the airbag ever deploys. So, let alone my absolute detesting of bedazzling anything. But I will say, funny. I do. Creative and funny. So, again, we're looking at kind of a OEM option. Next up is, I'll go with Hanson's submission because it is the exact opposite. So when I talk to chat, right, when I put the thing up, hey guys, help me pick a wing, send pictures, send links, that sort of thing. I also did the same thing to Greg, and Greg was like, nope, that first option you mentioned, that's me, and took kind of the easy way out. And Hanson was a little more engaged, and well, this was his submission. A forged carbon fiber swan neck rear wing, which I gotta admit I kind of like. Don't necessarily like the end caps per se. I do like I really wanted to do all this stuff in forged carbon.
No,
but
that looks terrible.
But this,
it gotta be on a Mustang. That looks horrible.
See, the thing is let me see if I can find the picture. The picture that makes this a big time no for me. Is how far it hangs back, right? So like you see so much of the support not covered by end cap or anything like that. It's just, that's a bit much.
It's not even that. It's just, it doesn't look like it belongs on a Mustang. It just doesn't.
It doesn't look like it belongs there. It doesn't look like, it's just so over the top.
No,
like I don't mind big wings as we will get to, but it's too big. Like you watch, I know phrasing. When you watch, like one of the things that like Pikes Peak and like the World Time Attack stuff that really is difficult for me to get, like it's the thing kind of holding me back from falling completely head over heels in love with that form of motorsport. Is the fact that the wings look like, if you flip them upside down, you could bolt them to the side of a freaking 747 and take off. It's just disproportionately large to the car itself. And for me, that's the issue with this one. Mark goes and Steve goes, that looks like a shopping cart. I mean, it certainly has enough material. Anthony goes, that first one, but NASCAR style with some turnbuckle adjustment. I did look at the equivalent of duckbill spoilers. I'd want it integrated, and I haven't found one integrated that I like. I do find there are some spoilers out there that I kind of dig, that actually have the clear plexiglass cutout, so visibility. I think that's what it's there for, and stuff like that. I personally am leaning more towards an actual wing. My original thought with the Mustang, and we'll go to, so here, this one right here, this is the duckbill.
This is like a full CF trunk with a duckbill.
Right, and it looks cool from like this angle, but I'm not a fan of how it looks like it folds over and over itself. Like if it was more integrated to the rear here, I'd be kind of more on board with it. So that was what led me to something like this. Which is
what I wanted.
This is the vote submitted by the son of Greg's.
Me, GT350R wing.
GT350R wing. Now there's a couple companies that do it. This is Sigala Designs. Benefit to this is that the carbon fiber weave on this will match the carbon fiber weave on, spoiler alert, the roof.
Yes, which is the way it should be.
Which is, if I'm 100%, like, that's kind of a big deal for me. Just to have that continuity. The problem with trying to keep
awesome.
This is just a really good look. Downsides for me. It looks awesome. I love the carbon fiber. These little end plates here, I had intention of putting like some form of shifting lanes branding on it. One side be the main channel, one side be shifting lanes garage, which if you're watching it on YouTube. And yes, Justin, I completely agree with you. There's no such thing as too much carbon fiber. Hence why my car is going to have a lot of it. Ironically, the first carbon fiber part you're not going to be able to see. The thing with these, and like I said, I love the look of it. I'm a big fan. I don't want to get so caught up. Now, this is Sigala. Anderson Composites, which basically makes carbon fiber stuff for all pony cars. But they make a crap ton for Mustang, as you will see. The thing with this is that my concern is that, yes, it looks awesome. I'm hoping it adds downforce, because there's something a lot of people, when it comes to picking wings and aero bits for their cars, just out of pure vanity, is, one, there's balance, right? You got to figure, if I have too much downforce on the back, the front end's going to get light at higher speeds. Or in some cases, they just add drag. And in worst case scenarios, some of them have actually been known to add lift. So these, I've done some digging. They do add some downforce and stuff like that, which is good, because I don't want to add too much, because again, the balance of the car will be off.
Right.
And like Steve says, good downforce to avoid the crowd. Difference is not an idiot behind the wheel.
Well, this is a replica of the GT350R wing, right?
Right.
Right. So Ford is not going to put a part on their car that would be improper. So to me, this is why this is my vote, because this will add functionality with being OEM plus or tastefully modded appropriate, and will still keep true to like what a Mustang GT350, GT500 would be, right? So like, to me, this is the best option.
No, Steve, I didn't mean you said I was. I know you were making the Mustang drivers who, let's just say crowd surf. Those drivers are not intelligent. At any rate, I'll be honest, this is kind of the leader in the clubhouse. Let me see what the next one is. So this is the same thing, but a GT500 wing.
Right.
Which
for me would be number 2 option.
Which I'm starting to like a little bit more and more. But it's like, The 350. So here's the thing. If we I closed it. Yay. The thing,
Just hit undo. Control Z. Control Z.
and I deleted Greg. But so here's the reason why, like, a the 350R wing is appealing to me, because I like the idea of GT 500 up front, GT 350 out back. So if you kind of average that out, you're somewhere in the low 400s. Why is that low 400 important? And two completely made up numbers by Carroll Shelby. Well, actually, 350 was just the distance between his shops. That's really where 350 came from, and 500 was 150 more for reasons. So for me, why being somewhere in the early 400s makes a lot of sense is, and I don't know if I've mentioned this in chat yet. If I haven't, ding, 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 spoiler alert. But the Mustang, it is, when we start doing the build, I'm going to announce this to the YouTube masses, but the Mustang is now internally what we're calling Project 412. And what is the significance of 412, you ask? 412 is my father's birthday. So I am building this car in honor of my father. So that it will be the Mustang 412. I don't know I think it's I want to go 412 GT or GT 412. I haven't decided the exact nomenclature, but right now it is Project 412, and I will have custom badges 412 on the side of the car. So that's why, like, the idea of 500 up front, 350 in the back makes a lot of sense to me. That said, and you saw that I brought this picture of Mr. Block up. It's without getting down a path of what exactly this man I never met actually meant to me as an enthusiast and things like that, which was a lot. My brain started racing. So this is obviously the Unicorn V2, one of my most favorite liveries of all time. Well, I also happened to go down a path that led me to an S550 in that livery. And I know this goes against
badass.
And I know this kind of isn't the sort of subtle thing Greg was mentioning, but I was thinking that would be pretty damn cool to wrap my car in like that. Make no mistake, I would get rid of the monster stuff. I might even just keep it sans logos, or have subtle shifting lanes branding on it. You know, maybe instead of the monster logo, we have a shifting lanes or whatever. But at any rate, I want to do, like, it'd be cool to have something built to honor my father, inspired by Ken in some way. So with that
that's cool.
being said, the other wings, okay, but like, if you notice, he's got a pretty aggressive, well, this render, I'm pretty sure it was done in Gran Turismo if the thing on the front windshield didn't give it away. But that led me down the rabbit hole. Well, Justin, prepare to be disappointed, because this led me down the path of an APR wing, which is CF. I love these wings that have, like, kind of the bump in the middle. It just does it for me.
Yeah, but that's not a park bench, though, and that's different than the swan neck one you were looking at.
Right.
And
to be fair, that was
Hansen's as GT3 as that rendering from Gran Turismo.
Right.
So, like, to me, like, this is actually a nice melding between a crazy GT3 style wing and sort of like a GT350R wing. So, like, this actually I would be on board with, because it looks cool. It's carbon fiber, and I do agree with you. I like the wings that have the bump in the middle, and it's also functional because you're getting downforce from the sides, the side plates, but you're also getting downforce from the middle, as well as letting air through the back, giving you sort of a wing diffuser effect a little bit, because you're still getting airflow over the top for functionality of downforce, but you're also letting air underneath it to be able to flow more freely between the wing and the trunk to, you know, not necessarily have greater downforce, but to just get better airflow over the back of the car, and you won't unsettle it as much.
Right. And another upshot to this is I end up with, I basically end up with documented downforce. So they know that this was a wing designed for downforce. And it's adjustable. I think it's the plates on the inside. I don't remember off the top of my head, and I don't want to bog the whole video down by trying to figure it out. But this one has documented downforce, and again, that can be adjusted. That if I decide to go down the path of doing a car for Dad inspired by Ken Block, I feel like this would be the wing to choose, just because it fills that look a little bit, right?
Right.
So I'm still 350, 500 this, right? The swan neck and the duck the duck bill, no thank you. What's the next one? So the next one's kind of in nope, we've already looked at that one. The next one is in the same vein, just the more, I don't know what the best word to describe it is, but it's more of just a subtle, no end plates, just kind of more like modern supercar in styling, that kind of pop up. Justin, to answer your question, any wing I get will be carbon fiber. There's going to be a lot of carbon fiber on the Mustang down the road. This one, I like. It's simple. It has like kind of a classic look to it. It's obviously not as racy, but it still kind of gives the same image. Also, side note.
Oh, CMST. Nice.
Side note, if you're a Mustang owner and you put the Ford GT taillights on it, you should be excommunicated.
Yes. Agreed.
The triple taillight is as Mustang as Mustangs. Like, we understand.
Yes, it needs to have a triple tail. It cannot have that.
So that is also an option as far as like a wing that does the job, that isn't pure race bred. It kind of sits in the middle. And then lastly, and this is the most arguably subtle of the options, is this one.
Ooh, that's nice.
The only thing with this one that I'm not 100% sure of is like the stuff I don't know if anybody picked up on that because my hand cuts off, but instead of using the mouse to try to point out things like this, I literally pointed at it with my hand. Just there.
Nice. Good job. Good job.
I like this one because it's kind of like a 500 wing. It's kind of like a 350 wing met in the middle. If I had to say of the ones I'm entertaining, this is at the bottom of the list, but it is still a good look.
Yeah, I would agree. It looks okay. I would say that the Sigalo one looks better because it's more of a GT350R replica. Also, this looks like it doesn't have as much functional downforce as the other one. It looks cool. It's like a GT350R-ish kind of wing. But I would agree. I would say that the lip is probably the bottom of my list, followed by the spoiler lip. So lip meaning like full carbon fiber trunk that you showed. Mm-hmm. Then the GT350 spoiler lip. Then this are probably my bottom three.
Yeah. So like I said, I think I'm between, if sitting here talking it out. So. I think who is it? Someone said it in chat, but I'm actually gonna put together a poll, and I'm gonna have the three options I like, and then we're gonna kind of figure it out, because like my original plan, if it wasn't for the whole going down this route. My original plan was to not do a crazy like my original plan, if I was going to do a livery at all, I was going to do a sort of Lark livery like DDE has on their 720 GTR, and like McLaren had on their race cars back in the day. Thank you, Steve. And Justin for also reminding me. Steve was the idea to do a poll. So I want to do a poll, see where you guys are getting at. I might even when it comes time to make this into a full-fledged YouTube video. I might even kind of make a short with a link to it. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
so that was the thing. But like I was saying before, like before Ken's passing, I was 100% all in on 350R wing, uh, GT 350 rear bumper or rear valence, kind of the same thing without again bogging everything down. And again, having it be somewhere in the middle between a 500 up front, 350 in the back, and a number in the middle that has significance to dad and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like
So,
that.
but I mean, the really thing is, so like just to give you guys an idea, roof, mirrors, wing, and I can, if I'm unable to fight my vanity, which is distinctly possible, carbon fiber heat extractors on the stock hood because I might not be able to help myself. Um, on a hood that I'm going to end up selling hopefully middle of next year. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Greg, you have my Mustang. You're going to finish the build from the moment it's boosted. Just curious, your thoughts. What would you do?
Uh, Man, from the moment it's boosted, for me, I would. So, if it was my money going into your car, I would probably go for if it stood right now, I'd go for the Segala wing. I
Again, you
would
don't
get the
have to use any
carbon.
of the options I presented. So this, you
No,
know.
I
Okay.
know, but I just really like the GT350R style wing. So I would get the GT350R wing, but at a discount, which means I would probably go with a Segala version or whatever version is as close to the GT350R without buying the Ford Performance part. I would get the carbon fiber roof. I would get a carbon fiber hood. Um, I would leave the fenders stock, but I would cut them and put carbon fiber like vents, sort of like how Porsche 911 GT3 RS has on the top, like the
Oh yeah, I
louvers,
like that. I like
like
it.
louvers. Yeah, so I would cut a hole and put like some louvers there. I would do carbon fiber on the right behind the front wheel. I would also cut into the fender. Like, do you have like ventilation on your car behind the fender in the door or anything like that? Is there like a
It's not really a vent per se, but I like where you're going with that. I actually really like
yeah?
the
So
carbon
like
fiber vent idea.
yeah, so like right behind the front wheel, I would also cut into the fender and or door and put like a very like slim carbon fiber vent exit there for just front brake cooling or just better airflow. Uh, and I would probably do the traditional stuff: carbon fiber front lip, carbon fiber rear diffuser, carbon fiber side skirts, and a probably some sort of GT front end, like a 500 or a 350.
Yeah, because again, spoiler alerts. That's what she's
Right,
gonna look
exactly.
like
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
front.
So like I wouldn't go as aggressive as that probably. Just because like for at least for my styling or my taste, the front right in front of the front wheel is like a little bit of craziness for the so scroll down just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So like I would take all of that, but minus that little piece more towards the corners and up into the wheel well. So like there's that like that like secondary or tertiary like almost like winglet towards the
Yeah,
corners. I would remove that and do everything else.
yeah. Though I mean, they also make. Uh, they also make, I believe, I believe. They also make 350 front end conversions.
Okay.
Bull bars for some reason. But yeah, like, I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty. Oh, the track pack wing is right here. Why didn't I never see that? Sidetracked, Chad, thinking things. But like this rear valance is likely going on mine. I don't like
Yeah.
these hoods, the big cowl hoods. Not necessarily for me.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the gigantic cowl hoods.
But like not this company, but other companies make like 350 conversions and stuff like that. And like here's the
Yeah.
thing. Um, yes, carbon fiber wheels when I hit Mega Millions. No, Steve, the goal is not to make it look like a 350 with a wide body. It's kind of to meld. I don't want it to look like a full bore like straight up GT500 copy. Otherwise, I would have very much just gone with the GT500 wing, the rear valance, and all that other stuff. Like I said, if I can make it work and make it look right, I would love to have GT500 up front, which you would say carbon fiber hood, aluminum hood. The Mustang aluminum hoods are actually shockingly light. And that's all of
Yes,
these.
but they're not covered fiber.
Yes, I agree. Which is why if I was to do this, the heat extractor, see, do they have a good picture of it? So like this heat extractor, I would take somewhere and have them make carbon fiber, just to tie the look in. But the whole point of it is like, again, 500 up front, 350 in the rear. So again, it's not a straight copy. So that somebody who knows Mustang looks at it and goes, wait a minute, not, oh, because we go for the 500, the 350 looks because there's only two other body kit options as far as the front end, maybe three, but it's insane and stupid and like not my cup of tea. But it's GT500 conversion, GT350 conversion, Roush. And every single one of them, you're kind of up badging. It's almost like it's not, and I will die on this hill. But somebody might sit here and say, oh, it's like putting an M badge on a non-M. I mean, it isn't, because that's the whole reason I'm supercharging it first. It's because I wanted, and I'm going to point again. Should just do this. That body. I wanted
Right.
I wanted to put that on it. So I wanted to boost it so even if I don't hit 700 wheel, I'm going to be damn close to GT 500 horsepower. So at the very least, I have the guts to back up the looks. And that's kind of
right.
Yeah, Justin, some Mustangs are cop cars as pursuit vehicles and stuff like that. So I guess some people would want to mimic that look. Not for me. But yeah, like, so this whole, like, just like a 500, it basically wrapped or painted just like a 500. And like the kit you see is like, I would get the light kit in it. So it's new headlights, new LEDs, everything new up front there. And which is good because here's the thing, also other thing. My front bumper on my car is damaged. And the hood is got a little bit of corrosion is starting to bubble the paint on a section. So I have to replace the bumper and the hood at some point anyway. I'm actually, now the more I think about it, the more I would absolutely love to talk to Blue Sky and see if we can figure out like almost a Mustang inspired version of the GT3. I'm stealing that idea, Greg. The Porsche GT3 heat extractors, just to get the low pressure out.
Oh, dude, it's super easy. You just cut a hole in the fender above the wheel and you put in a carbon fiber insert, which you can find almost anywhere. Like, if you just get the dimensions for the insert, you just cut a fender hole and slot it in. It's very, very easy to do if you have the right tools. I have none of them, but I know that people have done it on like tons of cars. So yeah, like not like that crazy, but you can easily cut a fender vent and slot in a carbon fiber insert for sure.
Oh yeah, like that's actually the exact look I would go for, more louvered. Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin, super easy. Just cut your fender. Not only cut your fender, cut your custom aluminum fender that costs you. You'd have to that. But no, I really like that idea actually. Like that, I
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
that'd be cool.
You know, get like Hanson to design it, 3D print it, and then send it off carbon fiber.
Hell yeah.
That would that. Yeah, I think that has to
Yeah, I'm
happen.
down.
But I need to
I'm
get
down.
it back first. That's the bigger thing.
Yes, yes. Mechanicals first.
Yes.
Then we'll figure out the good stuff. But let's get a poll going. Let's let's put it in our subscriber group first. And I feel like their votes should weight like X2 or X3. Then we pose it on the actual Facebook page or shift posting group, like the larger group that's not subscriber based, and see what sort of rises to the top.
I agree. I think we'll limit it to our top three.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's good.
Perfect. And yes, Steve, I'm going to Deutschify the Stang.
Yes.
Yes,
Deutschland.
it'll be the 412 GTRS.
I like
The
it.
Rennsport. But yeah. Oh, and I'm not going to do it in this stream because I don't think I'm going to be able to find it again. But someone made a rear valance that moves that kind of mimics the like Maserati Gran Turismo style rear valance. So like it moves the exhaust in a little bit and almost centered. That I was like, no, stick to the plan, stick to the plan. The subscribers are the only ones that matter, Steve. Well,
You're not wrong.
he's not wrong. So yeah, we will. Yeah, Greg and I will
We'll put
talk
a
about
poll
that
up.
and go from there.
Yeah.
Will we? Justin asks, will it be ready for our meet in April? Wink, wink.
Yes.
Is April Carlisle,
Chat.
or are we doing a meet?
No, Carlisle's usually in May, but we were gonna do like subscriber meetups every quarter or so.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Mustang will definitely be done by April.
The mechanicals, 100%. It should be
Yeah.
done early. Worst case, early February.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely be ready for April. It's the
Yeah.
question at that point is like how far down am I into the next phase? Because probably
Right,
the next
right.
thing to be in. The reason I brought up wing is like that's the next. So like roof and wing, I'd like to do at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why that's like the next part to order, and it's the part I wasn't 100% on. And instead of just asking Greg and Hanson's opinion, chat's actually halfway intelligent too. So, and it's good to it's.
Chad said you're intelligent. Mark it on your calendars.
I mean, just to be fair, you know, that's what I work with. So,
Not great.
but yeah, like, I mean, worst case scenario, early February. Mechanically, she'll be done, and then by April, I should have. I'm hoping to get it mechanically done, tuned, put a few miles on it, and then just basically be able to have my fun with it. End of February, early March.
Yeah.
Yes, Justin, only halfway because you find us entertaining, and well, you know,
We dumb.
we smart, SMRT.
Yeah.
But that,
All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for the night because we've been on for over 2.5 hours.
yes, and that's good because I was gonna, watch the rest of the national championship game, but Georgia is just annihilating TCU. So
Really?
it was 38-7 at halftime, and Georgia just scored another touchdown, and I'm assuming they've scored others. I'm waiting for a score just to see just how bad the.
Good Lord.
Oh, I think they're like, it's 65-7.
What?
Oh my God.
I see 59-7.
Yeah, they just scored a touchdown and missed the extra point. They suck.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, there is your. Well, yeah, there's the evidence to not allow the Big 12 into anything.
I mean, to be fair, they beat the Big Ten champs that also beat Penn State.
Well, yes, but Penn State's not good, and I fully admit that.
No, they're a good squad. They just weren't Michigan, Ohio State good, which is annoying.
Well, yeah. Yeah, agree. But, like, good Lord, 59? I mean, at that point, 65 to 7, you have to question should they have been there?
Right, but they beat the number 2 team in the country to get there.
Yeah,
So then you have to call into.
yeah, it still needs to be questioned. If it was like 35 to 7, I would have been like, okay, Georgia's just dominating. They're a great team, but like 65 to 7 is on a completely different like playing field. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's. I expected Georgia to win with ease, not that easily. And on that
Yeah,
note,
that's nuts.
we're going to call it a night, guys. Thank you so much to everyone
Yes.
who donated. Thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you for everyone's input, as always. And thank you to Greg for carrying the last 2 weeks without, my just boyish charm.
Being.
But guys, again, thank you so much. And we will catch you next week. Stay tuned